everyone, Hammeh here. As Overwatch's 1 year anniversary of launch or first birthday is coming up very soon, everyone's getting really excited and the hype train is going into overdrive on if Blizzard will be doing anything special, and if so, what it might be. People are also going a little bit nuts about leaks, quote unquote. Some on 4chan recently around Doomfist are attempting to predict future heroes and other things. I'm using the word leaks in inverted commas and quotes. These are random internet posts until proven otherwise, but let's have a look at what we actually know. I'm going to go quickly through the fact and fiction of what we both know the development team have said against what people speculate might be on the way. We'll run through this latest post on Doomfist, consider past leaks and whether they are truly leaks or not, and then finish off with some speculation as to what Overwatch's first anniversary event could actually be. Okay, time for some proper analysis. Firstly, leak or not leak. This latest post is on 4chan proclaiming to be someone from Blizzard's Austin QA team. Now, Blizzard do have QA quality assurance in Austin. The person says that Doomfist is coming in Q2 of this year, so pretty soon, gives a list of fun-sounding abilities, and some of these match up vaguely with a post that someone who may or may not be the same person posted a few weeks ago. But there are some contradictions as well that people haven't mentioned sometimes when they're doing an analysis. For example, in the original post, no stun is mentioned. And in this most recent post, the person says that there is a stun in an area around Doomfist's supposed ability. Two other heroes are mentioned. Bria in Q3, apparently an area denial hero, steampunky in design, with electric wall bars that apparently deny certain areas of the map when you place them down. And an Ivon in Q4, who is apparently a Russian defense hero with swarm bots. Now, those swarm bots to me very much sound like things that people have speculated before for Athena. So take that with a pinch of salt. This post also mentioned that animated shorts might be coming very soon for the next event and Q2 Doomfist release, a single player mode that might be a single player Omnic experience to dive into the Omnic lore, but that's only talked about at this stage apparently, and an anniversary event that will bring some new skins. So, hands up, I love hype as much as anybody else, and speculation as well. I just try to, as much as possible nowadays, separate the two so you know which is which. So whenever you see anything like this that calls itself a leak, I'd encourage you to work backwards. Have a think. What do we already know about the contents of this leak or post? Could people have made a good speculation based off what we already know? Or have they made up something reasonable sounding? What doesn't make sense in what you're reading? Then you can judge the rest accordingly after you've had a look at those. So I'm going to quickly go through some previous leaks we've seen. Take the Sombra leak, for example. We saw this post from Blizzard's internet before Sombra released, and I rambled for quite a while at the time as to whether this was a real leak or not. This has actually all, I think, conclusively been proven to be true. So this image that we saw of Sombra was definitely a genuine leak. This talked about Junkenstein's revenge and a few other things. It turns out the image of Sombra was good, so that was a leak. However, let's take a look at the slightly more recent Orisa leak. This was again from 4chan, from someone called Blizzy Leaks. I've analysed this before, but very long story short, it talked about Orisa, a May animated short, and a little bit about Doomfist, but nothing really concrete. Now, in this one, there were kind of three bits. The Orisa description they gave, I think it was a four-legged quadruped female Omnic from Nimbani, well, that was pretty spot on, so a tick against that one. However, this leak also talked about skins for Year of the Rooster, a K-Pow for May, and the K-Pow wasn't for May. It talked about things like a Sun Wukong skin for Winston. Well, yeah, that did happen, but I think, personally, that was pretty easy to speculate. And it also mentioned a May animated short, which we've not seen anything about, but we'll come back to that later. Having had a look at those two leaks, one of them, the Sombra leak, was pretty true. That feels like a leak. The Orisa leak, well, it's still not, to me, actually proven whether this is really a leak or not, or whether maybe they got some information on one part, but then they made up a bunch of stuff around it. Time will tell. Okay, so those are previous posts or leaks, quote unquote. Let's have a look at this most recent post and analyse it a bit for everything that it says. First things first, Overwatch's anniversary. Now, Overwatch released on May the 24th last year. I think there will be something happening. Blizzard will celebrate it, I'm sure. Whether it's a few birthday cards on Twitter or perhaps something even bigger. So if it's something even bigger, what could it be? Quite a lot of things really when you think about it, and none of them I would say are a hard thing to speculate. They're all things we as Overwatch players would like, we're all enthusiastic about, so if you write a post with any of these things in, people are naturally going to get excited. Any leaker or speculator wanting to write something that sounds credible can tie these in to get us interested. So let's have a quick look at what we already know and compare it to this post. First things first, the speculation on heroes. Now, it's a reasonable guess at this point. We know that Doomfist is probably coming. We know he's probably using his Doomfist as a weapon, so attacks and abilities will be designed around it. Now, what about facts? Well, recently in interviews, Jeff Kaplan has said that a hero could come sooner than expected. Those interviews were done on April the 5th, so not too long ago. Speculating that Doomfist could be the next hero and could be announced soon, putting those two together, isn't a bad speculation, but it's not proof of any leak that you read. Remember as well, in an interview with GameSpot very recently, Jeff also said, "I would like to see hero development not go any faster than it currently is, and maybe over time even slow down somewhat." Now the reasoning he gave for that was because he didn't want to get to a hero a month, hero of the week, heroes feeling too similar to other heroes, like in games where you have 10s and 20s and hundreds of heroes, like MOBAs for example. Now, I'm a firm believer in dev cycles and roadmaps. Sounds pretty boring, but teams who have to produce things, whatever they're doing, whatever industry they're working in, work to some kind of schedule, timetable, or plan and pattern quite a lot of the time. And this is very true in the video games industry. Unless a team gets a lot more resources, more staff, more money, more assistants, processing hours, there's always patterns in the madness you can have a look at. Let's take a look at Blizzard Overwatch patterns, as we have before in other videos I've done on leaks. Well, for heroes, we had Ana in July 2016. Sombra was BlizzCon and then on the PTR early November 2016. Orisa was March the 2nd on the PTR, 21st of March release this year. You guessed it, between all of those there is a 4-month gap or cycle. So if we were working on a 4-month gap or cycle, maybe we'd have a new hero in July, like Ana again, then November again with BlizzCon. That puts us at 3 heroes a year. Now, a hero is the biggest announcement Overwatch can kind of make, perhaps alongside an entirely new game mode, other things like that. So I'd say that another hero at BlizzCon this year is a reasonable speculation, or some kind of big announcement. Now, if you take all of that into account, the question really is, do we think that Blizzard wants to release 3 or 4 heroes a year? Based on Jeff saying he'd ideally like to slow down the rate of hero development. Now, if you think that they'll up it to 4, then perhaps a first anniversary is a good occasion to do so. They could squeeze another hero in or interrupt the cycle a bit, but I would then say perhaps that if we get a hero within the next month, we probably wouldn't see another hero for a while, perhaps even until November. If we're sticking at the current rate of 3, well then this hero is coming early, and maybe we might see some new maps or something in between before BlizzCon later in the year. Speaking of maps, well, I find it funny that this latest post or leak, quote unquote, doesn't mention these at all. How does someone leaking know the hero roadmap, which is presumably a bit more confidential, I would say, in such detail, but not the maps as well? I find that a bit odd because as we've had a hero more recently, another hero so soon would be awesome, but a little bit out of pattern. Maybe a map is more likely as a result. We did have Eichenwalde in August of last year at Gamescom, and then Oasis as a new map hit the PTR last November. Now, Jeff on the boards recently has mentioned, as I've covered in another video, link below, there are 3 standard maps in development this year. By standard he means quick play competitive for the map pool, and a few more maps in development than are non-standard. I speculate that maybe these could be game modes for new events, new 3v3 or 1v1 arenas, or things of that ilk. If we are not getting a new hero for Overwatch's first anniversary, then I think a map, given that Jeff has talked about them recently, could be a pretty strong shout for one. There are so many things that could be cool, I've covered them in the map video, maybe Utopia, maybe things like the Moonbase, Horizon, the lunar colony that Winston came from, Junkertown, maybe perhaps even Busan, Korea, or somewhere similar, where Diva perhaps is fighting the big kaiju-style Omnic that comes out of the neighbouring sea every now and then with her mecha unit. There's so many different cool places that a map could be for, and maybe a map for an anniversary could be quite a good shout. Is there any place you particularly like to see? Do let me know in the comments. Okay, this latest post also mentioned animated shorts, and they said, oh, they're coming soon, either around the anniversary event or around Doomfist's Q2 launch. Well, it's been a year or so since season 1 of the animated shorts started, and a long time, or comparatively long, since the last one, November. We know that there will be more coming. Saying there'll be an animated short around Overwatch's anniversary event or a hero release, again, that's no big logical jump. It's quite easy to speculate that. It seems a reasonable guess. I don't think that's proof of a leak either. The old Orisa leak mentioned a May animated short in some detail. It even gave like a plot line for it. Now, as I've said before, it feels unlikely to me that May would get a short when she's had Eco Point Antarctica released as a level, which tells some of her story alongside it. The May short plot that was speculated was pretty similar to Eco Point Antarctica's story as a level anyway. It kind of felt like duplication to me. In Overwatch's lore, which I love, as you know if you watch this channel regularly, we have a lot of heroes that could do with a bit more of a lore boost than May. We'll see in time. Now, having said that, the Overwatch playlists have been updated on YouTube recently. This is generally a sign that something is coming, and something coming around the anniversary is a good shout. The last time that the Overwatch playlists updated, it was most probably the Uprising origin story and event trailers. We might see some kind of video assets, but who knows what they're going to be. It could be that these are new map spotlights or something like that. The leak also mentions skins. Well, Jeff has already said recently on the forums and similar members of the team that Zarya and Hanzo have skins coming. Again, releasing some skins would be very awesome, on Overwatch's anniversary or birthday, that would be a cool way to celebrate. Again, I don't think it's confirmation of a leak, but I think it's possible. What kind of skins would you like to see for Overwatch's first anniversary if so? How likely is this recent post to actually be a leak? Well, the Doomfist stuff syncs up a little bit with the previous post, but we can't even be 100% sure, I think, that they're by the same person. We can't conclusively link the two recent Doomfist posts to be the same person, or even to the Orisa post that happened earlier in the year. So I'd treat it with a healthy dose of skepticism, but who knows? I'd love to see Doomfist sometime soon, don't get me wrong. His abilities, if they turn out to be these, sound very, very cool, but let's have a think. There's a lot of stuff in this supposed leak post that you as an Overwatch fan would love to see, and you could potentially speculate at that could be coming in an anniversary or celebration event, so we'll have to see. However, what would you like to see? Would you like to see skins, a new map? Would you like to see Doomfist? What do you think about those other hero concept ideas? Again, they're very, very general. They could be something that people have written elsewhere. I've seen the Swarmbots idea written elsewhere before this person has written anything anyway, so time will tell. I'm very excited to see what will come for Overwatch's first anniversary. I'm sure something is going to be released, and it's only a few weeks away, so we won't have too long to wait. Do let me know in the comments what you think, and if you made it this far, who would win? Officer Diva, who is available now to get in the Nexus Challenge, by the way, or Robocop, or maybe ED209, the somewhat slightly ill-fated droid at the beginning of that film, which does look a little bit like Diva's mech, I think. Cheers for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, do share this video, throw a like, sub, let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. It really helps me out. All of my usual Overwatch lore, interactions, voice lines, and more, as well as latest news, are in the playlist below. Till next time, I've been Hammeh. Take it easy.